This is my review of the first standalone Uncharted game which does not feature Nathan Drake as the lead. The Lost Legacy is led by the Chloe Fraser character introduced in Uncharted 2 and again performed by Claudia Black. She teams up with Nadine Ross, who was the villain from Uncharted 4, to uncover the golden tusk of Ganesh. The game is rated T for teen for blood, language, use of alcohol and tobacco, and violence. The screen captures in this video do not contain story plot, but do show locations throughout the game, so if you feel that this will spoil the game for you, please do not continue. This game was originally intended to be DLC for Uncharted 4, but was expanded to be a standalone game, which I'm happy they decided to do. The game engine is the same, and while not as long as the more recent games, I still think it provides a diverse mix of exploration and puzzles. Naughty Dog was absolutely right to price it at $40 instead of the usual $60. The Naughty Dog games are one of the top reasons I own a PlayStation 4. I have enjoyed all the games in the Uncharted series, and The Last of Us is definitely in my top 3 games of all time. As is typical of Naughty Dog games, they are breathtakingly beautiful regardless if you have a 1080p or 4K TV.
Indian Army's not messing around.
While you don't necessarily have to have played the other Uncharted games to enjoy this one, I would recommend it. You will miss out on a good bit of the humor and tongue-in-cheek dialogue.
One less problem. This looks to be it.
The puzzles you solve range from fairly easy to ones that require a bit of thinking to get correct. Paying attention to the details in the landscape and buildings, as well as clues that are provided, will assist you in getting to places you possibly couldn't on your first look. The amount of detail given to each environment and the realistic way the character interacts with the elements is getting better and better with each game Naughty Dog produces. There are a few things that can get tedious having to do again and again. The biggest of those is having to pick the locks on lock boxes spread throughout the game. This is done by rotating the left stick until the controller vibrates and the lock circle turns green. This has to be done typically 3 times for each lock that you pick. The second act of the story has a large open world area for you to explore and solve, which was a fun way to make your own decision on how you go about the game. You're still going to have to reach the same end point to move to the third act, but sometimes having a better gun or explosive before taking on a large group of bad guys can make a big difference.
Oh, there you are, having fun. Nearly there. Made it. Impressive.
I have read that some have finished this game in as little as 6 hours, but I required approximately 10 to explore and attempt to solve all the challenges. The game also includes the multiplayer and survival modes that were included in Uncharted 4. Survival is a wave-based mode where players can take on increasingly more powerful enemies. Multiplayer is a third-person view and has a diverse mix of maps. While I don't think it's going to deplete the ranks of folks that play Halo or Call of Duty, it does provide a different gameplay dynamic, and coordinating with those on your team definitely makes a big difference.
Worth it?
Impressive.
If you've enjoyed the other Uncharted games, I think getting this one is a no-brainer. You will enjoy it. If you've never played the Nathan Drake series and this is your first introduction to the series, you're still getting a great game, but it will probably end up making you go spend the money to get the rest of the series and then coming back and playing this one again, which isn't a bad thing. With the included multiplayer and the great campaign, I feel it is absolutely a great game to add to your collection. While there are other games that are visually impressive as well, the controls and game dynamics allow you to enjoy the story without worrying about button combinations to get to that next level. Thank you for viewing and enjoy.